Contact your Miller Media Group account manager today and deliver your message through your potential customers' ears and eyes.
Your information station, WTIM.
Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust in Landmark of Taylorville. We've got the WTIM morning show and a good news segment, the Taylorville School District. It's the first Thursday of every month. And today I am joined by Tia Thomason, Chris Crane, and Angel Brown, all of which are Title I reading specialists at Taylorville School District. Good morning to you three. How are we doing?
Good morning.
Well, we've got some nerve. We're going to shake them here this morning. We're going to get ourselves nice and comfortable because I'd like to just start talking about who I have in front of me, what kind of grades you're teaching, what we're working with, and then we'll get into some of Title I reading to learn a little bit more about that. But if you would, give your title and let us know who we are.
Well, our first and second grade, we work with the reading program, obviously.
My name is Chris Crane, and I actually work at Memorial, 3rd and 4th grade. This is my 9th year here. I worked in Indiana for 18 years before I came over, and I did the same thing.
My name's Tia, and I also work at North School with kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade in the reading program. This is my 12th year teaching, but my first year as a reading specialist. So I'm really excited to get these kiddos where they're supposed to be with reading.
Okay. And if we could kind of just talk about reading specialist as a job and as a whole, you said you went from teaching that you had previously taught. What's the difference between just teaching a class and then teaching as a reading specialist?
Well, when you're a reading specialist, you focus in on just reading. You usually have students that we pull into a small group that might struggle with their alphabet or certain segments of their reading. Maybe they don't understand what the TH is supposed to say or some other element. And we work on building those skills so that they can be more confident readers. And we also work on comprehension skills.
And would we echo those same sentiments there?
Yes, for 3rd and 4th, it's a little bit higher level. So I would work with kids who do struggle with comprehension and fluency, also some of those phonics and early literacy skills that they may have missed in the early K through 2 grades.
Is that something that you work with a speech pathologist ever with as well? Is that somebody that comes in and kind of helps develop a plan as well with you?
Often of our children have speech services as well, because one of the elements of reading is being able to hear what you're saying and hear what is being read so that they can understand the elements of the word structure as well. So we do work closely with our speech and language pathologists.
I was going to say that kind of goes back to what I was originally going to do with life. So we're just kind of, I guess spitballing there a little bit off of that. And I do want to get into some of the things that you brought to me, but one thing that you brought to my attention was Read Across America Week. And we're going to say that we planned it perfectly today. Tell me about Read Across America and just kind of promoting that to the kids and to the community.
I'll start. We celebrate every year the first week of March, usually, because March 2nd is Dr. Seuss's birthday. And so it's usually we do activities around that week. Read Across America Week at Memorial is each day we do dress up days. Like today is Hat Day. It's hats off to reading. We do a theme and then let the kids kind of, dress up in different activities all week. Yesterday was Wild About Reading. So they were in animal print and animal things. We also are doing at Memorial, we're doing Tournament of Books. That's what it is. Tournament of Books. And kind of goes along with March Madness. And
Okay.
So we have 16 books we start out with, and the kids get to hear the books and then decide which 2 they like the best. And those move on to the next brackets. So around April 7th, when the March Madness finishes up, that's when we'll have a winner also.
Okay.
So they're pretty excited about that.
I was going to say, I'd like to hear about that.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And then North also celebrates Read Across America Week with dress up days. Today we have dress for your future career. So I'm excited to see all the kiddos dressed up for what they want to be when they grow up. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow?
Tomorrow is dress as your favorite character from a book.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That one's going to be fun too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to kind of get the parents involved too and
Yes.
helping
Oh,
create
yes.
some of those outfits. Anything else with Read Across America this week before we move on to what is Title I reading?
Title I Reading is a grant program that has been instituted throughout the country for schools that qualify, that provides funds for reading specialists and reading programs and supplies for reading. It also covers a wide range of other things, but we have the Title I Reading program here, which helps us fund the reading specialists as well as all of the reading aids that we have.
And is
Supplies needed and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and supplies being like
Mhm.
books or
Mhm.
highlighters maybe or things like that, or
Books, highlighters, reading games, all kinds of different.
Activities and things that we would need to help. Our ultimate goal is to get those students back into the regular ed type tier 1, they call it, classroom. With us, they just need a little bit more one-on-one or small group to get them back where they need to be.
a more focused approach
More
at their
focused.
learning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Understood. And so
More advanced,
with Title I reading, then it's just basically trying to help get you back to that tier
to
1.
that grade
Just
level.
a little extra push.
Yep.
Okay. So now that I have an idea of what we're working with, and listeners out there do as well, you've got an exciting event that we're wanting to promote and talk a little bit about. Who wants to start with that and who wants to kind of fill me in on that?
Well, April the 10th at 5 p.m., we will be hosting Kelly Perotti. She is flying in. She is going to be a speaker for our event, and she will be speaking on the topic, Be Kind, Be Brave, Be Strong, 3 character traits every kid needs. And we are combining that with the element of reading. We will be handing out some kindness books for each of the kids to have.
Also, the exciting news with that, the first 250 K through 4 students that arrive receive a Take and Bake Angelo's pizza voucher.
Doesn't sound too bad to me. So, kind of give that extra little Twinkie or this case pizza to maybe want to read. So the first 250 are going to get that.
Yes.
And that'll be for K through 4. So then I would assume that would be the target audience of said event that's going on.
Yes. All of the kids, kindergarten through 4th grade, that are part of our Taylorville Public Schools, their families are welcome, but those students that we service will be given a voucher when they come in. And that is our target audience. But of course, older brothers or younger brothers and sisters can always come and enjoy the event as well.
I love the idea of throwing out some pizza vouchers out there as well. And as reading kind of becomes a thing of what some kids just aren't really doing, and more push needs to be had for it, then I love to hear that an additional push might be a pizza voucher and getting Angelo's behind it. Is that something that they donated to you guys, or is that something that you guys had to work with them closely on? Or?
We work very closely with Angelo's. Angelo's has been very good to Taylorville schools with all of our family nights. They offered us a little bit of a discount because they like working locally and they appreciate the business, and they have been wonderful to work with.
We've also used other companies in town to, like Happy Baked Goods helped us with bringing and these are kits for the kid to take with them. We try to do 2 events every year, family night events.
I was going to ask, that's news to me then, because so you're trying to do 2 events, possible maybe a third or something.
The 2 events are actually federally funded through
Okay.
Title I grant, and so that's what we use the funds for. Also,
Absolutely. So
we do try to work locally. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that have really supported us. In the past, Walmart has supported us as well. So we're very fortunate to have such a good community relationship with these businesses.
They help us promote reading, and that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
I think I go back to when I was in school, the Pizza Hut. If you read over the summer, you got that personal pan pizza, and that was quite the incentive back then. So I can imagine a nice pizza is still that case. And so I'd love to talk a little bit more about the event, who exactly Kelly Parati is, and more. Once we come back around, we'll take our first break of the WTIM morning show here. We are in our Taylorville Good News segment, our Taylorville School District Good News segment. It's the first Thursday of every month. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, are proud to continue their long-standing sponsorship of honoring Taylorville High School Students of the Month on WTIM's many platforms on AM, FM, and streamed online, and on WMKR, Genuine Country 94.3.
I'm Alyssa Becker. I'm a senior at the Taylorville High School. My parents are Michelle and Josh Becker. I play bowling and I'm part of Library Club. I used to also help coach volleyball with the Taylorville Christian County Youth Volleyball. I love painting and crocheting, anything art-wise. And for schooling, I plan on being a nail technician when I graduate.
People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, salutes these great Taylorville High School students on this honor and wish them the best in their future. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
There's only one Central Illinois radio station that brings you the memories of the 60s and early 70s as you are cruising down the streets of your hometown. The dial position is 98.3 FM. The station is 98.3 WSVZ. From Macon to Vandalia and I-55 to I-57, cruising 98.3 plays the hits from early Elvis in the 60s to the British invasion of the Beatles, Herman's Hermits, and many more from the 1960s. Then we swing into the early half of the 1970s with artists like the Guess Who, the Doobie Brothers, and Elton John. Every song brings back something you remember about growing up. Set a button and crank up the station. Playing good time rock and roll from the Tower of Power. Cruising 98.3 WSVZ.
WTIM listeners from Witt to Shelbyville and Awanaco to Ramsey can now hear your information station even clearer at a new place on the FM dial. WTIM now has an additional dial position at 107.9, transmitting at some 280 feet from a tower on the south edge of Pana. Hear the latest local news and agriculture information, swap shop, and more in southern Christian, northern Fayette, and eastern Montgomery counties from WTIM. Even better now at 107.9 FM. Set a button on your radio for WTIM in the Pana area now at 107.9 FM.
Pastor Brian Moore here from Locust Grove Church near Assumption. We are alive and so worth the drive. Find directions to our church and watch our video podcast by clicking our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Agriculture is our largest industry. Your agriculture information station is WTIM, AM, FM, and online. Tune in or stream WTIM's over 8 hours a day of ag information featuring our local farm broadcaster to be in the know.
WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and this is the morning show. Our segment today is our Taylorville School District Good News segment, and it's brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville and People's Bank and Trust. Today, we're talking about Read Across America Week. We're talking Title I reading, and we're also talking an event coming up. And I am joined right now by Angel Brown. I am joined by Chris Crane and Tier Thomason. And we've been talking all about those different items today. Where do we want to go in terms of this be brave, be strong, and be kind? I know that's the general message that we're kind of pushing with this event. And if you could just kind of tell me about the message and why it's so important.
Well, it's happening on April 10th at 5 p.m. At the North School Gym. And in this day and age, we really want to focus on kids learning how to be kind to each other, learning how to step out of their comfort zone and be brave. And Kelly Perotti is a nationally recognized speaker that is an advocate for kindness and resilience. She's also a black belt.
She's trained in martial arts and jujitsu. So we think that might be a little bit of fun bringing to the kiddos.
Somebody that could be less than kind, but has the ability to be kind. I think, I wasn't for sure here. I kind of read that second degree black belt with 2 world championships. And I go, okay, that's interesting, but I see how we're tying it all together. For her, is that just kind of a keynote speaker? She'll talk for about 15 minutes to the kids or something along those lines. And then we get into activities. What's the additional plans behind it?
She has a whole presentation that she does, and it's about an hour long.
Really?
Yes. And it is just very inspiring for kids and parents. So we're really excited about hosting her. She's from the New Mexico area, I believe. And so she is coming in specially for our event.
And so we've got it on April 10th. It'll be at the North School Gym. It looks like there might be some not requirements, we'll call them, but some parking details that we'd like to maybe throw out there as well.
Yeah, it will be at 5 p.m. So we expect that the parents will park maybe in the junior high parking lot and come through the entrance of the gym on the west side. I guess it is northwest side of the school, of North School.
So now that we have a good idea of what this event is going to be and things of that nature, we know who you are and what Title I reading is a little bit. Over the course of the year, though, we've got the 2 events. What are some of the typical things that might go on with that individualized learning? Can you kind of take me through the process of getting the start with the kid, maybe what work needs to be done, and maybe how we move them on to Tier 1?
Yeah, we assess our students using an Ames web program 3 times a year. At the beginning of the school year, we assess our kids to determine if there's any deficits in fluency, so if they're not reading as fast or if they're not comprehending as much as they need to, or if it's for the lower grades, maybe they don't know as many alphabet letters and sounds that they should. And then we pull them into groups and focus their learning on those specific topics that they are missing to help boost their learning. So all of those students will be continually progress monitored throughout the school year to make sure that they're making gains, to make sure that they are continuing with their learning. And then if they reach the winter benchmark and they're able to make that benchmark, of course, we have a big celebration for that. And if they don't, we continue on and we document these and we keep a close contact with parents with what their progress is. We also work really closely with our speech and language pathologist on articulation, how those sounds are made. A lot of times it's not necessarily that they can't do it, that they can't hear it correctly. So that influences whether they're reading it appropriately or not.
Well, I appreciate the breakdown behind it. Sorry, Chris.
No, that's right. I was just going to add on that also at 3rd and 4th, we're looking at reading vocabulary, how well they understand vocabulary in stories, how well they use expression in their voice when they're reading. They also have to comprehend what they're reading, not just be able to read words. They also need to comprehend what they're reading. So we really focus on and setting goals for that as well.
And so K through 4th grade, and then now that we've got a pretty good idea of what Title I reading is. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time. Could we double down on the event, the details, as we have about 20 seconds here left?
So it's Kelly Perotti. She's our speaker. It's at 5 p.m. in the North School Gym. Please park in the junior high parking area and walk through.
April 10th.
April 10th. Yes.
And so April 10th, 5 p.m., Kelly Perotti will be there, and we'll be hosting about an hour-long presentation about being kind, being brave, and being strong. Thank you so much for joining me here today. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
This hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A Trump administration freeze on federal loans and grants remains on hold. A Rhode Island federal judge extending his prohibition on the funding freeze, being challenged in court by a couple dozen Democrat-led states. Brushing aside President Trump's threat of its destruction, Hamas says it will only free its remaining Israeli hostages in exchange for a permanent Gaza ceasefire. In the meantime, the White House confirms talks and discussions are now underway.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said President Trump supports the dialogue between U.S. officials and Hamas.
He believes is good faith effort to do what's right for the American people.
Leavitt declined to provide details on the talks, but noted that there are American lives at stake. She also said Israel has been consulted about the direct engagement with Hamas. Greg Clugston, Washington.
U.S. automakers getting a temporary reprieve from the 25% Trump tariffs, White House Press Secretary Leavitt.
We spoke with the big three auto dealers. We are going to give a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA. Reciprocal tariffs will still go into effect on April 2nd.
Some European leaders waking up to the reality of their countries having to shoulder more of the responsibility for their own defense.